Nnamdi Kanu trial lasted 10 years, from the first arrest in 2015 to November 2025, when a federal high court in Abuja convicted him on 7 terrorism-related counts and sentenced him to life imprisonment. He was then moved from DSS custody in Abuja to a correctional center in Sokoto State, far from the southeast. The court record itself raises question about. A high court in Enugu State had already nullified IPOB's prescription in 2023. Justice James Omotosho still relied on that original ban to convict Kanu as the leader of terrorist organization. Now, look at what happened after the sentencing. All 5 Southeast governors went silent. They went cold. No joint statement, no emergency meeting, no public stance. They had promised after the conviction to urgently meet President Tinubu to press for Kanu's release. As of the most recent count, only one governor kept that promise, Alex Oti of Abia, who personally visited Kanu in Sokoto prison and activated a release strategy within 24 hours of the sentencing. This did not start with the conviction. It started years earlier with the same leader. In 2017, it was Igbo governors themselves, led by then Ebonyi Governor David Umahi, who proscribed IPOB and invited the Nigerian military into the southeast under Operation Python Dance 2. That proscription became the foundation the court later leaned on to convict Kanu years after it happened. In 2022, Anambra Governor Chukwuma Soludo personally visited Kanu in DSS custody. Kanu begged DSS officials in front of Soludo to let him address his supporters and call off the sit-at-home order himself. Soludo joined in pleading. DSS refused. That refusal left a vacuum. Criminal elements moved into it, hijacked the sit-at-home enforcement, and Kanu was blamed for violence he was in custody for and had personally tried to stop. A coalition of Igbo ministers has put the accusation in the plainest terms anyone has used. Many Igbo politicians who are afraid of Mazi Kanu, they said, they fear his popularity. They know that if he is released, their years of silence and cooperation with those oppressing Igbo people will be exposed. This anger is not confined to elites anymore. A traditional ruler from Enugu State stood in front of President Tinubu at a national summit and told him directly to release Kanu or send him back to Kenya. He said Southeast youth now call their own traditional rulers sell-outs. A diaspora group wrote directly to Southeast governor, calling their conduct silent complicity, and warned them plainly. We are documenting your actions, they said, and inaction for the day of reckoning. But it is not just leaders and organizations speaking. Go to the ground and you will hear something different and more personal. In February this year, a group claiming to speak for IPOB announced the Monday sit-at-home was cancelled, that markets, schools, and businesses should resume as normal. In Anambra, Governor Soludo walked into Onitsha main market himself, and commercial activity actually returned. But in Abia State, something else happened. Schools, shops, and officials stayed locked even after the cancellation. A trader named Francis Ogbonna, I'm telling you about people's personal experience now, was asked why he still wouldn't open. He said, if your father is in detention, any day he is to appear in court, will you open your shop? Another trader, Kalu Ike, said plainly that only Kalu himself released and could actually end the order. No directive from anyone else would be believed. A civil rights advocate monitoring the region put it this way: residents in parts of Abia, she said, comply now, not out of fear, but because they have normalized the spirit of it and respect it without being forced. That is different from the earlier years when threats and violence drove compliance. Some residents did describe direct personal threats, naming their families. IPOB's own leadership has publicly denied ordering any of that, blaming criminal elements who hijack the movement for their own purposes. So here is what is actually true and on the ground right now. In Anambra, life has mostly moved on. In part of Imo, the order is fading out of its own. In Aba, real people are still closing their own shops every Monday by personal choice because they will not do business while the man they see as their leader sits in a prison in Sokoto. So now here is a question worth asking, and I am not going to answer it for you. Nnamdi Kanu is serving life imprisonment in the northwest. A bandit leader named Bello Turji remains free, tied to mass killing and large-scale kidnapping across multiple states. The federal government has rehabilitated, as I'm talking to you now, 744 self-described repentant terrorists through a program called Operation Safe Corridor, including a man linked to Boko Haram. A state government in Katsina has publicly offered houses, he has offered cash and integration to bandits and kidnappers still active in the forest today. Suspects still awaiting trial in the same state were part of a secret plan to be released as part of a peace deal. Ask yourself then, one man is locked away is a question everybody needs to ask themselves for life. Another man tied to mass killing and kidnapping is still being offered a house and a fresh start to lay down his weapon. Is that a double standard? I'm asking everyone. Or are those simply not the same kind of cases? I am not here to answer that for you. What I can tell you is this: the federal government made the decision Kanu, but the leaders closest to him, the governors, the traditional rulers, the men who could have stood in the gap the way Alex Oti did, mostly choose silence instead. I am Patience Smith. The facts are on the table. The conclusion is yours. I am not asking you to agree with me. I am asking you to think. Drop a comment if one governor could visit Kano in prison right now, and if they come together, do you think they will achieve much? Are they willing? Are the leaders in the east willing? Are you like that trader in Aba, still standing with him by choice, or do you see it differently? And can any crime really be compared to Bello Toraji's own? Share this video and tag someone who needs to see it. I read every comment. What's happening right now is unfair, considering all that the federal government is doing to terrorists and bandits. Please, I would like to hear from you.